I got a really weird situation here that's pretty precarious. I've got a tree that fell down. It's a fairly large live oak, Quercus agrifolia. And originally it was a double trunk tree, and this side rotted off and fell down a few years ago and was cut down. And this side over here should have been cut down, but it ended up rotting out and going down on its own accord. So I just cut this piece down here, so I flopped that down in there. And the only thing that's holding this up off the ground here is that one little sliver. So in order to get everything back over here, I want to retain this trunk as a sort of a bridge. Well, more than sort of a bridge, it will be a bridge. And I want to be able to pull all that brush all the way across over this side, rather than going down into that deep hole there and back up. So my next cut is going to be somewhere up in here, and I'm going to undercut this right here and try to settle this down. So let's see how it goes. Quite stable yet. See, there's air all the way underneath this whole trunk. That whole thing sitting on this one little piece right here. I think I need to make some wedge cuts back in here and cut it in such a way so that it pop over and fall down and settle down on the ground here. It's still about 8 inches off the ground. We're going to be using this. I don't want it to move while the guys are going back and forth on this log. So I need it stable. Alright, at this point of the job, George came up with an idea. He said he wanted to try something. Because I wasn't quite sure here. We had pressure pushing down on it. It wasn't really leaning in one way or the other. If it had more pressure on it, we could have cut a wedge and kind of came up with it. And he thought, you know, if I cut a piece out of it and then come in from the back side and make a quick cut and let it kind of slide past this, then it should slide down onto the dirt. The entire weight of this log was on this small, it's a relatively small piece of wood. This was a piece that broke off, and it was sort of stiff, and it came straight down and it lodged itself in that position. So we still had, the trunk was probably still 8 or 10 inches off the ground, and we wanted to stabilize it before we made any more cuts on the thing, because if it did move, it could have been precarious. So anyway, I looked at what he was doing. I thought, well, that might work. It's an interesting idea. Worst thing that could happen is he'll pinch the saw. So he took a big chunk out of it. He came in from the back side here, and I thought, well, that may work, but it's going to be kind of tough, because if that's not pulling on that to bend it over, it might pinch. And here he made a big mistake. He should not have done that. He should not have come back in from the other side, because he compromised his hinge. So he got lucky, got it out. But then he came back in from the other side, and at this point I'm starting to be a little bit concerned. I'm thinking, oh, he's going to trap the saw for sure. Because with the cut being a little bit compromised like that, he doesn't leave himself any out. He should have come in there and cut a series of little V's on this side, so when this happens, he can get it out. So he's stuck. We were able to get it out of there, but we had to go get a crowbar and push it over and get another saw and kind of play around with it, and made the job go a little bit longer. It finally ended up working, but I don't know. These things are sometimes really hard to predict. I don't know. What would you have done? Leave me a message.
Right, we got a bridge. There's water in the creek down there. And it wasn't stable, but now it's reasonably stable.